Welcome to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25 Media. We feature top founders, executives, and business leaders from all over the world.
Chad Franzen here, co-host for this show where we feature top restaurateurs, investors, and business leaders. This is part of our SpotOn series. SpotOn has the best-in-class payment platform for retail, and they have a flagship solution called SpotOn Restaurant, where they combine marketing, software, and payments all in one. They've served everyone from larger chains like Dairy Queen and Subway to small mom-and-pop restaurants. To learn more, go to SpotOn.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. We help B2B businesses to get ROI clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships through Done-For-You podcasts. If you have a B2B business and want to build great relationships with clients, referral partners, and thought leaders in your space, there's no better way to do it than through podcasts and content marketing. To learn more, go to rise25media.com or email us at support@rise25media.com. As the president and chief executive officer of Burkett Restaurant Equipment, Jameel Burkett is recognized for the vision, insight, purpose, and drive with which he has led the company to its current position as a market leader in the food service equipment industry. He joined the company in 2002 and became president in 2011. In 2012, he was awarded the Business Excellence Award from the Entrepreneurial and Business Excellence Hall of Fame. In 2013, he was named Top Achiever by FE&S Magazine. In 2019, Jameel was a recipient of the Management Excellence Award by Food Service Equipment Reports magazine, and in 2021 he received the Champion for Young Leaders Award by the Food Service Equipment Distributors Association. Jameel, thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chad. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, so tell me a little bit about kind of the history of Burkett Restaurant Equipment. How did it get started, as far as you know, and how long has it been in business?
Yeah, thanks. So my father started the company in 1977. He was about 2 years out of high school and was always an innovator. He always, at a young age, was a big innovator, entrepreneur, and saw kind of the Toledo, Ohio market, which is where we're from, was noted as one of the highest number of restaurants per capita in the United States. So he saw that opportunity and then looked at the competitors that we had in the region and found that there was a market for reconditioned or used restaurant equipment. So that's kind of how we got started. I mean, he started the business in 1977 with a primary focus of providing good quality used restaurant equipment to the Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan market. And that business model really worked really well for a number of years for us. I mean, over the next 20 years, I mean, we saw the business grow, into not just used equipment, but new equipment and whatnot. In 2002, I joined the company with him, and that was upon graduating from the University of Toledo. And we're here today.
So so he started out in Toledo, Ohio. How did it kind of grow in terms of your customer base? Did he start out just servicing people in Toledo, or was it a bigger market than that?
Yeah. So before I joined the company in 2002, it was really very focused on the regional business. But when I joined the company, the internet was just starting to take off, right? I mean, 2002 was the beginning of the .com era or whatnot. So I joined the company. We had this big 175,000 square foot warehouse full of equipment. And I'm like, man, what are we going to do with all this over here? This is dollar signs. So there was this thing called eBay that was first coming about back then. So we're like, hey, let's throw some things on eBay. Well, we did that. And before we knew it, the volume on eBay was doing more than what we were doing locally. And we were like, okay, there's an opportunity here. So then we grew and we launched our website in 2005. And at that point, we kind of really we created a national presence for the business on a national level. I think by doing those things, it allowed us to build relationships and friendships and clients all across the country and whatnot. And that's kind of how we really grew from a local presence to a national presence.
So you guys have all kinds of items that a restaurant could possibly need. What are some of the most popular?
Yeah, so we're really a full service restaurant equipment and supply distributor. So we do everything from refrigerators, freezers, mixers, cooking equipment, smallwares like your storage containers, tables and sinks, smallwares, tabletops, dishes, plates, and furniture. Pretty much if you walk into any restaurant, everything you see at a restaurant, except for the food and the menus and the computers, can come from us.
Okay. Is there like an item that you guys have that maybe you think is underrated? Like, obviously all the things you listed probably are go-to items. Is there anything that's underrated? Like, a restaurant would really benefit from this, but it's just not popular? People don't think of it.
That's a great question. There's really nothing that comes to mind. I mean, I think the technology is probably the biggest thing that is underrated. When you look at equipment is equipment, right? A refrigerator is a refrigerator, a freezer is a freezer. But as the world evolves and whatnot, this Internet of Things technology that's kind of brought into the restaurant equipment, it's still really at its infancy stages. And I think that that's a component that as people continue to face challenges with finding staff at the restaurant, we got to find ways to automate and whatnot. So things like technology inside the equipment is going to help automate manual routine processes like checking temperatures or maintenance and whatnot. So I think that's probably the part that I would say is got the biggest upside potential to it.
You said you started in 2002 after graduating from college. I'm sure that you were quite familiar, given that it's a family-owned business. I'm sure you were quite familiar with the business basically for your entire life.
I was, but believe it or not, I never worked in the family business prior to that. I was always the guy who wanted to do my own thing. So I was a sales rep for a number of years at different companies. I did an internship at a Fortune 100 company and realized I really wasn't looking for corporate. So my father was like, "Why don't you come work with us over here?" And being a smart 22-year-old guy, I'm like, "I didn't go to college to come work at the family business." He's like, "No, seriously, come give it a try." And I did that, and honestly, it was the best decision I would have ever made. I mean, it's been extremely rewarding and whatnot.
What did your previous experience outside of the business? How did that help you, or what did you learn from that? If there are things you can think of off the top of your head.
Yeah, I think it's the leadership and the mentorship from having other managers who's not family. I think that when I look at people that I may know that join family businesses right off at the bat, you never really get a chance to develop because no matter what, I mean, when you're at a family business, it's like, oh, you're the boss's son, right? So you're going to get away with things more than you really should. So for me, I think that having that 10 years of experience or so, 5 to 10 years of experience, I should say, working outside of the business, I really learned some really good business practices, some good behaviors, some really strong accountability. I had some amazing leaders. I've been really fortunate my whole life to have amazing people around me. And I think that really gave me the platform to be able to look at the business from a different lens. I got to see things I liked and things I didn't like as well, right? There's things you love at companies, and there's things you're like, man, if this was my company, I would do things differently. And I think that gave me a chance here to apply the things I loved and be able to do the things differently that I thought could be done differently.
So you started in 2002 and you became president in 2011. So it took 9 years for you to get promoted. So obviously you weren't just appointed president right when you joined, as the boss's son. What kinds of things did you do prior, kind of, in your journey toward becoming president?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when my father hired me, he hired me to be as vice president of operations. And I'm this 22-year-old guy or kid that just graduated from college and vice president of operations. And I'm like, after like 6 months, I was like, this isn't working. He's like, what's wrong? I was like, no one's going to listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm 22 years old. You know what? I'm going to start over again. I'm going to start from the very, very ground level. So I kind of really resigned from my job as vice president of operations and I jumped in the warehouse and I started to work in the warehouse as just shipping, receiving, delivery, and then started to kind of implement some of my own thoughts and ideas on the warehousing things on what I could do. And then after that, I kind of started to dabble in other areas of the business. I got into our service department a little bit and learned a little bit about reconditioning equipment and how that works. And then jumped into accounting and marketing, sales. Sales is always my baby. So I did sales and something else because I'm naturally just a salesperson by nature. So I think I just doing that over time. I mean, around 2000, I say 9, 10, 11 is when I started to get more into the office. And then in 2011, I kind of took over as the president.
How have your sales skills and your sales background benefited the company?
Oh my God, humongous. I've always been told like I'm a good salesperson, I'm a good talker, but I think that there's a difference between being a good talker and being a good salesperson. And I was fortunate when I worked at Gateway Computers when I was in college. I had a remarkable sales manager that really, really trained me. He trained the whole company, like how to be top of the line salespeople and really sell with empathy, sell with care, leverage relationships to kind of help you grow your business, referral network. So I think having those skills has helped a lot. And then on top of that, I really believe that leadership, to be a good leader, it's about there's a little bit of sales that goes into leadership, right? I mean, it's about having good empathy and how to talk to people and how to work with people. So I think having a strong sales background, I think has helped me be in a leadership role and really drive change and influence people.
As I mentioned in your introduction, you've won several awards. What's been the key to that kind of success and that recognition?
We have great people here. Honestly, like I don't do a whole lot. I mean, I have great people around me, and they really rock it around here, and have done an amazing job getting the company on the maps, and whatnot. And I think that most of the success has to go to the team that we have here at the company. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are.
What has been, as president, the most challenging thing about running that type of business?
Yeah, the most challenging thing. It's just gonna be weird to say it, but I'm gonna say it's letting go sometimes, right? So the fact that I took a step back and started at the ground level and worked my way up, a lot of these things are my baby. So being able to let go of your baby and empower someone else to do it, I think it's tough. Like, I mean, it's a fine line. Do you cut the cord and just let them go and let someone else handle it day one? Well, that doesn't really work. Do you stay involved in it? No, because you look like a micromanager. So it's taken me a lot of years to learn how to transition change versus cut off change. I kind of use the analogy at work now when we talk is change isn't a light switch, it's a dimmer switch. And so you want to dim the lights on slowly to get to maximum light, but it's not the flip of a light switch. And I think that over the last several years, I've had to learn and really put a lot of energy into learning how to effectively drive change, especially with me letting go of things that I used to do.
COVID has had a huge impact on the restaurant industry. What about how has it impacted Burkett restaurant equipment, the restaurant equipment industry?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely it hurt us like everybody else in the beginning. I mean, March, April of 2020 came around. You're like, oh my God, are we going to be in business in 2 months? Like this is horrible, right? But I think that during crisis is a time for businesses and people to really look at it as what can I do? How can I do things differently, right? How can we pivot our business and evolve and do things differently than we ever have before? And I think that it just challenged us, right? It took us out of our comfort zone, got us a little bit uncomfortable from where we normally would be, but said, okay, we have two choices. We can either thrive or we can die. And nobody on the team wanted to die. So we're like, all right, we got to figure this out over here. So you learn how to take new risks. You learn how to try things differently. I mean, the whole idea of this is just how we've always done it because it works went out the window. The other thing that it gave us a chance to do is we had so many areas of the business that were like, man, if I could start all over again, there's so many things I would do differently. And when you during COVID, like prior to COVID, there's always the pressures to perform, whether it's pressures of your bankers or pressures of your shareholders or your staff or whatever it is. There's always that pressure that says, God, we have to perform. We've got to deliver. And then when COVID came, it's like that pressure all fell off the shoulders, right? It all was gone. It's like, well, no, I don't have to because nobody's performing right now. So let's take this time to just take a step back and look at every segment of our business and say, if we were starting all over again, how would we do it differently? So we really got a chance to rebuild the business from the ground up, whether that's inventory, whether that's layout of our showroom, whether that's just sales training, inventory management, web catalog management, marketing. I mean, we essentially dissected the business and rebuilt it from the ground up, as if we got this opportunity to wave a magic wand and start all over again without starting all over again. And I'll be forever thankful. I mean, it was difficult times, but I think that it's so far. I mean, it's been rewarding because we had that chance to kind of do it the way we want it.
Sure. Is there something that you've been president there for about 10 years, 10 years. Is there something you're most proud of during that time?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot I'm proud of. I mean, this team over here, this company has done some amazing things. I guess a couple of things that come to mind. I mean, I think in 2018 or 19, I think 18, we introduced our own private line of refrigeration and cooking equipment. So I think that was a cool accomplishment, right? Your own private brand. It's called Seagate Commercial Products. We carry the top 50 best sellers in the refrigeration and cooking category. And I think that was cool. That was a cool thing, right? That thing that you have your name on or your identity. It's made just for you. No one else can sell it but you. I think that was a cool moment.
Yeah, very cool. Has there been any kind of mistakes that have been made along the way, but ended up being big learning moments?
Oh God, mistakes. God, we make mistakes every day. I mean, one of our core values is pursue growth and learning. And we say that because we're like, look, there's two things that are going to happen. You're either going to win or you're going to learn. And every time you make a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. Yeah, where do I start? I think the biggest mistake I probably made, and I think this goes back to learning how to let go, is as the company grew and my role evolved, I started to listen a lot to other people about how a president should be or how a CEO should be and the things you should do. And we really got away from being who we are at our core, and we really lost our culture. And I think when you look at it, you kind of look at like your growth years, your dark years, your recovery years. I mean, everybody has the ups and flows in the business cycle. And you look back and I'm like, man, like probably the biggest mistake I made is, and I don't want to say listening to people because you have to listen to people, right? But I think letting people influence you beyond your natural, I don't know, natural comfort zone, but I don't know how to put it in the right words. Like you're passionate about your culture, right? And I think it's influencing your culture. I think that's the way I want to explain it, is really allowing outside influence to come in and make an influence to the culture and essentially change the culture from what it was. And I think that it was all with the right intentions, but I believe that every business has its own culture, right? And there's a uniqueness to the culture. And when different people join different companies, yes, you have a chance to kind of influence some culture. But that founding principles that my father built the business on, that's why we're successful. That's why we do great things. And those principles can never die. You can evolve, you can grow, you can enhance. But those core founding principles, having high empathy, your people first, taking care of, I mean, really, it's all about the people. If you take care of your people, they take care of you. That's really good. And so I think that's probably been the biggest mistake. And it took a long time to recover out of it. It really did. I mean, it took a long time to realize why I got there and then how to get out of it. And I think the reason why we got out of it is because also of the people that started to join the company in the later years. And they're like, man, I knew you a long time ago. Or I knew the business a long time ago. And I remember ... I'm like, you're right. I remember ... And just, it just took a couple of people that were like, hey, I get it. And then to be able to drive that change again. And it's been real rewarding. I mean, look at where we are right now compared to where we were 3 or 4 years ago, compared to where we were 20 years ago. I mean, it's been a remarkable journey.
Given those principles and how you kind of rediscovered them along the way, how would you describe the culture there?
Over here, oh
Yeah.
man. So our colors are red. So that tells you red screams passion, right? I think our people are incredibly passionate, very, very driven, very family oriented, very people oriented. We have over 70 people here now, and you ask each one why you're here, they'll almost all give you the same answer, and it'll be the people, right? I mean, so we've created an environment where people like to work together. It's a fun environment. It's a good cultural environment. It's a customer first, employee first mindset. We really don't believe, and we believe in numbers, of course, but we really believe if you take care of your people and you take care of your customers, the numbers will work themselves out. And I think that people have seen that we're the type of company that doesn't live and die by the dollar. We live and die by doing the right thing and believe the dollar will follow us. Again, I like analogies, and the analogies from the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. That's kind of the analogy that we use over here right now. Just if you build it, they will come. Just roll with it.
Who are some of your mentors and maybe some advice that you've gotten from them?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple. I mean, God, I mean, I've had a lot of great people around me. I mean, I go back to my sales manager that I had back in my college days. I mean, and a lot of the advice was around how to take care of your customers and how to be a good salesperson, not a used car salesperson. I have another mentor of mine. His name is Hussein Shosher, and he's the former CEO of Gem Industrial, which is a construction company out of Toledo, Ohio. And I mean, him and I spend a lot of time together. I mean, he's a person I can bounce ideas off of or problems or challenges off of. And what I love about my mentors is they never tell me what to do, right? They just kind of point me in the right direction by asking questions. And then at the end, you're like, oh, well, that works. But I really do believe, and I encourage this to everybody. I mean, whether you're in college or you're a restaurateur or you're a chef or whoever it is, everybody needs a mentor in life. And that mentor can't be somebody at work. I mean, I don't believe it should be somebody at work or someone in your family. It's that person that you can lean on that's going to be just give it straight, right? And I think that I've been very blessed with those.
Okay, I really appreciate your time today, Jameel. Where can people find out more information about Burkett Restaurant Equipment?
Yeah, I mean, you can visit us on our website at www.burkett.com. B as in boy, URKETT.com. We're also on all the social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all across the board.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Hey, I appreciate your time today, Jameel. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25. Visit rise25.com to check out more episodes of the show and to learn more about how you can start your own podcast.